Hey guys, MJ here from Nightcall Singapore. Today I'm gonna show you the two most important things to know when deciding between different sizes of lights and the most common mistakes I see clients make when they're choosing their first light. Before we begin, if you want to win this Nightcall Tiny 2 titanium version, right, 500 lumens, make sure you subscribe to this channel and comment below on what is the most common task you use your tiny kitchen light for. Right, once we hit 500 likes, I'll be giving away one set each to 3 winners. Alright, the 3 winners will be announced in the description box below. Let's start with the biggest mistake. Buyers always want the smallest and brightest, then try to use it for everything. Right, a good example is this. Someone wanted to buy this T4K. Right, this is a 4000 lumen keychain light. He wanted to use it as a bicycle light. Right, first of all, it wouldn't work because of several reasons. Right, first, there is no way to mount it. Right, it's a pocket clip at the back. Right, and if you're going to run it at max brightness all the way, it's going to run out of battery halfway through your ride because the battery is not big enough. And because it's so small, there's also not enough surface area to dissipate the heat. It's going to overheat, it's going to step down in brightness, and in the end, it doesn't meet the needs of a good bike light. So how do you as a buyer know what to look out for when it comes to size? Right, this versus this, right? It's pretty obvious, but you get the point. So there are two laws of physics that flashlights have to follow. Once you know them, it will help you make smarter decisions. Number one, the bigger the light, the cooler it runs. So you can run it brighter for longer. The bigger the light, the bigger the battery capacity. So that increases how long you can run the light. Right, something like this, the MH12S gets you about 2 hours plus of solid runtime at 1000 lumens. They can run for as long as your spare batteries for. Built-in battery lights like this TUP sacrifice the ability to change batteries for sheer compact size. Right, look at the size difference. These usually run 15 minutes at a time at the same 1000 lumens. Right, so for small lights, expect them to not run as long or as bright for extended users. Right, number two, the bigger and deeper the reflector, the longer the beam can reach. Right, this is the P30 here compared to the P18. Right, so the shallower the reflector, the wider the beam is. They could have the same lumens or brightness, it doesn't matter. Right, see the pattern, you see the long straight line down, this is a spot beam pattern. You can see further. Right, P18 floodlight, look at that. There's no long straight line down, it's all flood. Right, a reflector basically takes the light, right, shapes it and push it out the front. Right, different companies have very fancy marketing names to call each beam type, like True Vision or Max Vision or IntelliBeam or all kinds of things. But now you know what to expect, even without looking at the specs or the marketing fluff. Shallow reflector, wide beam, right? You get a floodlight. You cannot see far with this. Deeper reflector, you get a narrow beam, right? You get a spotlight effect here. So you can see far with this. So by now you realize the further you want to see, the bigger the light you need. Right, there was one client that wanted to see up to 500 meters, but wanted something small like the MH11. Right, but remember physics, right? The deeper the reflector, the longer the distance. Right, to hit 500 meters, you need something of this size, which is the P30. This is 50 mm in diameter compared to the MH11 that he wanted. Right, look at the size difference. So this P30 reaches up to 600 meters. But he was like, oh no, that's too big. You know, they didn't want to carry this kind of size on their belt. So okay, fine. The next size down is the MH25S, right? So this one reaches up to 400 meters and is at 40 mm bezel. Slightly smaller, so that will help with ease of carry and use. Okay, but he still said, hey, it's too big. Then I asked, what are you using the light for? And he said, oh, for travel and home use. Right, he wanted something small, so it's convenient to bring around for travel, to look at open landscapes and such. So you see the problem, you wouldn't bring a small pocket knife to bash through dense forest, right? You bring a bigger blade. They are both knives, but they each have their own purpose. Right, these are both lights, right? They each have their own purpose. There's no one light that can do everything. Right? It's physics. Flashlights are just like knives or any other tool. You have to bring the right tool for the job. Okay, so by now you're wondering, okay, so what's the best in-between all-round light that works, right? Something like the MH12S here, right? This is a 25 mm diameter bezel. Gives a balanced beam that works perfectly for about 60 meter working distance. Right, this size also meets the needs of majority of users, big enough to run long without overheating. So keep in mind these two factors first. The bigger the light, the cooler it runs. The bigger the bezel, the further it shines. Right, so every other decision beyond size and beam type will be down to features. That's why there are so many models within a certain size. All of these lights have a 25mm bezel and similar beam type. Right, but the difference are in button placements, one-handed versus two-handed, the controls, magnetic bases, waterproofing, special blinking modes, built-in charging, multicolor outputs, ultraviolet, infrared, and so on. Right, they have different features designed to work well for a specific type of user. So if you want to sort by user on our website, I have curated the lights in 3 main users: outdoor and everyday carry, military and police, and lastly, industrial and safety. That will save you some time deciding through the different models. So to recap, when it comes to sorting by size, smaller lights like these, your Tiki, your Tip SE, these are for 30 minutes to an hour use, right? This will give you a wide flat beam for looking at things up close or up to 50 meters. Medium-sized lights like this MH25S are for 2 to 8 hour extended users. Right, this gives you a mixed beam for close up or up to 100-meter use because the battery can be removed or charged inside. Larger lights like this TM39 here or the TM20K are for extreme users. Right, they either run ultra bright or ultra long or help you see ultra far like this one. This has a 1.5 kilometer beam distance. Why? Because of the super huge reflector. Look at that. Very wide and very deep. So large lights like this basically exaggerate a certain function. Right, on our website, nightcalllights.com, you can pre-filter by size. Either ultra compact, about the size of car keys. Then compact, about the size of a whiteboard marker, which is this one. And lastly, the large size, right, about the size of a soda can and beyond. You can also filter by beam type if you want to see only all the narrow beams to see far, right, those with these kind of patterns. Or if we want to see all the wide beams, right, for these kind of patterns, or the mixed beams, so a mix between long spot and a wide flat, right? Alright, if you reach this far and you still wonder, I can't decide, remember, if you do get stuck along the way, just ask for recommendations in our Facebook group link below called Nightwalker Singapore, right? And myself or one of our resident experts will be able to point you to the perfect light. Alright, that's it. MJ signing out.